The polished glass walls of the tallest office tower reflected the bright morning sun like a giant mirror, but inside, one man's dignity shattered in front of dozens of powerful people. Every executive sitting around the polished conference table watched in uncomfortable silence as security escorted a tired single father toward the exit. His worn shoes echoed across the marble floor while he clutched a weathered folder that contained nothing more than years of hard work, impossible dreams, and the hope that this meeting would finally change his daughter's future. The CEO never even looked at the papers. With one cold decision, she dismissed him as though he were invisible. What no one inside that luxurious boardroom could have imagined was that less than 24 hours later, the same man would walk back through those doors carrying a signed $3 million contract that would leave every executive speechless and force the CEO to confront the greatest mistake of her career. Before we continue this unforgettable story, if you believe that kindness and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, share it with your friends, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, and subscribe to Kindness Hub. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories that remind the world compassion is never wasted. The single father's name was Rowan Mercer, a quiet and determined man whose life had changed forever 3 years earlier when his wife unexpectedly passed away after a brief illness. From that day forward, every sunrise began with responsibility instead of rest. His greatest purpose became raising his 8-year-old daughter, Maris, whose bright smile somehow survived despite the hardships surrounding their lives. They lived in a modest apartment where every expense required careful planning. Rowan worked as an independent maintenance technician, repairing commercial machinery for small businesses that could rarely pay him on time. Some months he barely earned enough to cover rent, groceries, school supplies, and medical bills, but Maris never heard him complain. She only saw a father who packed her lunch every morning, braided her hair before school with awkward determination, and somehow found the energy to cheer louder than anyone else during her weekend soccer games. Years earlier, Rowan had designed an innovative energy-saving maintenance system capable of reducing operating costs for large office buildings. He had developed it during late nights after putting Maris to bed, sketching ideas on inexpensive notebooks while drinking cups of instant coffee to stay awake. Although he lacked investors, expensive lawyers, or influential connections, he believed the system could genuinely help companies save millions of dollars while reducing energy waste. His dream was never becoming famous. He simply wanted stability, enough to give his daughter a secure future where she would never worry about whether there would be enough money for tomorrow. That dream led him to Helix Dynamics, one of the country's fastest-growing commercial property companies. Their headquarters symbolized wealth, innovation, and prestige. Rowan had spent months requesting an opportunity to present his proposal. After dozens of unanswered emails and rejected appointments, a junior assistant unexpectedly offered him a brief presentation slot before the executive strategy meeting. It was only 15 minutes, but Rowan treated it like the opportunity of a lifetime. He arrived before sunrise wearing the only suit he owned. It had been carefully cleaned and pressed the previous evening, though its faded fabric revealed years of use. His leather briefcase had scratches from countless repair jobs, but inside it rested perfectly organized reports, engineering diagrams, projected savings, and months of research. As he waited in the elegant reception area surrounded by expensive artwork and polished stone floors, he silently repeated every detail of his presentation, hoping preparation could compensate for his lack of status. Unfortunately, appearances spoke louder than preparation. When CEO Vivian Ashcroft entered the boardroom with senior executives following closely behind, she immediately noticed Rowan sitting quietly near the presentation screen. Vivian had built Helix Dynamics through relentless discipline and uncompromising standards. She believed every minute had measurable value, and unexpected disruptions irritated her more than failure itself. Seeing a stranger whose clothing clearly differed from the polished executives surrounding him, she assumed he represented another desperate salesperson trying to bypass normal procedures. Without reviewing his proposal or asking a single question, she instructed her assistant to cancel the presentation. Rowan respectfully explained that he had received official confirmation and had spent months preparing research specifically for Helix Dynamics. He politely requested only 10 minutes. Vivian declined again. As Rowan continued holding his folder, hoping someone might simply examine its contents. Impatience spread across the room. Security was called. Every executive witnessed the heartbreaking moment as Rowan quietly gathered his papers while 2 guards escorted him toward the elevators. No shouting. No anger. No resistance. Only silent disappointment carried on the shoulders of a father who had believed hope might finally outweigh hardship. Several employees lowered their eyes in embarrassment, sensing something deeply unfair had occurred. Yet none challenged the CEO's decision. Outside, the brilliant daylight felt strangely cold despite the warm weather. Rowan sat on a nearby bench overlooking the busy city streets. For several long minutes, he simply stared at the folder resting on his lap. Years of sacrifice suddenly felt meaningless. He questioned whether dreams belonged only to people born with influence instead of determination. Then his phone vibrated. It was Maris. She excitedly reminded him not to forget her school science exhibition that afternoon. She proudly explained she had built a tiny wind-powered model using recycled materials because her father had taught her that even small ideas could create big changes. Her innocent confidence quietly erased the disappointment clouding Rowan's heart. He smiled. If his daughter still believed in him, then giving up was not an option. That afternoon Rowan attended the exhibition wearing the same suit. Maris proudly introduced him to her classmates as the smartest inventor she knew. She never mentioned their financial struggles. She never noticed the sadness hidden behind his smile. She simply admired her father with complete faith, and that faith became stronger than humiliation. Later that evening, after Maris had fallen asleep, Rowan opened his laptop once again. Instead of dwelling on rejection, he improved every page of his proposal. He refined financial projections. He simplified technical explanations. He researched international partners who might appreciate innovation more than appearances. Near midnight, he submitted his proposal to several sustainable infrastructure organizations overseas, never expecting immediate results. Before sunrise the following morning, an email arrived that changed everything. A respected international investment consortium had reviewed Rowan's research through one of its innovation screening programs. They believed his maintenance system could revolutionize commercial property management across multiple countries. Even more surprising, they had already contacted Helix Dynamics after discovering the company would be the ideal implementation partner. The consortium wasn't asking permission. They were offering Helix Dynamics an exclusive $3 million pilot contract in one condition: the system's creator, Rowan Mercer, had to lead the entire project personally. The same company that had thrown him out now faced losing a historic business opportunity unless they welcomed him back with the respect he had deserved from the beginning. To be continued in the next installment, where Rowan returns to Helix Dynamics and the CEO realizes the true cost of judging someone by appearances.